Right to a channel of light fluid. Welcome back to our Seeker Saga. And we're now on chapter 5 of Moonfire. And if you haven't been following the story, you might want to go back and check out some previous ones because you might get all lost with what's going on here. We're quite far in. But if you were watching, yes, things didn't go well for Allikar, shall we say. So let's see how things are in Havenhearth now. The streets of Haven lay more sombre than ever before. Stalls were closed, hardly but a few creatures out and about through the winding city paths. The silence was a painful echo of an all-new reality. Uncertainty beyond the hillside of a new era, seeping into the hearts of Haven. Our brigade stopped on the outskirts of the Queen's courtyard, emotionally readying ourselves. Fender took that moment to turn to Cora with unease. Cora? Cora slowly looks to him but says nothing. Can you come get me when you guys are done? I don't want to go inside. Yes, Fender, I can do that. With his desired assurance, Fender leaves down the street by himself. Where's he going? Yes, a shack on the outskirts of the courtyard where he sleeps. I'm sure we'll find him there. Only halfway down the courtyard path, the doors of the castle ahead lay wide open, and the cries of Lavera echoed from within. They were hardly noticeable from where we walked. I could see the figures of Lavera, Kali, and just a few guards from within. Who knows how long she has known, but it was clear the city of Haven did as well. Distant still, I could hear the faint words the Queen rattled aloud from so far away. That's it. We're eradicating them, every last one. Whether they did it or not. Nay, we'll protect him if I'm wrong, but I'll fight him too. A decay with the masculine, to decay with the fools and bandits. The Queen continued with an outburst of anger, mixed with occasional sobs and mumbled gasps of sorrow as we climbed the steps to the castle. By the time we had reached the doors that were left hanging, Kali had retreated from the throne entirely, stopping us as Cora went on ahead. I looked to him as he nods his head slowly. Fatigue riddled across his face. Well, it is how it looks, and to be expected at that. She has gone on for hours, and I can soothe her no longer. Mail, Soma? I looked at Kali as he nods inside. She'll want to see some of you. He points to a few of the guards in our brigade before turning to me. It has been a rough weeknight. What's done is done, so now we wait. Feel free to take a break in town and rest as best you can. What happens now? I do not know as of yet. Knowing the Vera, she'll want to try something drastic. I'll make sure I talk it out with her before all is delivered. What about the Damascus Treaty? As I said, I do not know. These things will take some time. All right. I'm unsure if I'm relieved to know I do not need to witness the cries of Lavera, or feel upset that I'm not there as a responsible party. If only things could have gone differently. I recall Zane had wanted to meet, although I'm unsure where he'll be. I think I'll take the day to myself as best I can, all things considered, until they show. Let's explore the town a bit. Aimlessness, or perhaps the feeling of curiosity, takes me throughout the empty streets of Havenhearth. A calm yet melancholy feel flowed among the still air. It was not long ago the streets were filled with noises from every corner. Another creature was always but an arm's length away, but now I barely see any. Every corner was desolate. I let the roads guide me as I listened to the slow patter of my own steps on the cobblestones. I kept my eyes out for Zane or any of his friends, but I saw no one familiar. Eventually, my purposeless exploration led me to a thin, empty alleyway. Not a single creature in sight. A pile of rubbish and old bricks piled aside, covered in dust left undisturbed for unknown amounts of time. An old wheelbarrow lay not far off, propped against the shack with the wheel completely splintered in two. It seems this area was left to rot. Classic. The shack lay in the same condition as the other items on the street. It hardly looks as though anyone had entered in months. I wondered what lay inside. Checking the door, it was locked, fueling my curiosity ever so slightly more. Well, we can't pick the lock, we don't have those skills. I kind of don't really want to break the door down. It's probably nothing there, but that's still kind of breaking and entering. So I think we'll head back to town and hope we don't miss too much. I head back the way I came, not wanting to overstay my welcome in any obscure locations. I head to the main square outside the tavern. Like all the other streets, it lay practically desolate. All but two stores remained closed, so I approached the one closest to me. Hello, knight. How has the day been? Not much to say, honestly. A king and the prince slain in a fortnight. I feel the moment of our lives becoming more unstable with every day gone by. So you continue to work? I'm saving as much as I can to move. With less stock, the less I'd have to haul. I want to leave Melentia altogether. Maybe find something better in Rixlian. With no family to call my own here, I think I'm one of few able to leave so easily. See if he has anything we can afford. We don't think we can sell. A seeker has been seen less and less every day. Cora's name day may be around the bend before we know it. Let's just buy a health potion. It's always a good idea. 127 gold. I don't have the skills for lockpicks, so I don't really think they're worth it. Thanks. I'll see you around. I take a seat next to a group of our brigade. Many have already settled in for the day, eager to rest at home. I noticed some that sat somberly to themselves, and a few that joked with the others, trying to brighten each other's day. Evening, Geraint. Hey, plants. Anything on your mind? What did you do before joining us? I ran an apothecary my family started up. I helped them for the most part with growing plants and taking on druid magic, taught me by some Sumerian travellers. Magic really jump-started our apothecary, so it's basically the ultimate form of gardening. Create a near-endless supply of herbal ingredients. Of course, you can really only charge a treat here so often, but it just doesn't feel like it wants to work anymore. So I guess even with fire out to charge them, there's still only so much one can do in a day. Where are you from? I grew up just outside Silverville. on the edges of Rixlea and Melentia. My family and I moved north to settle further in Melentia. What made you want to leave home? I want to find a place of my own, so I can set up another apothecary in my own name, along with my boyfriend. And with Kameo being a close friend, he mentioned he was travelling within the safety of the Lunar Knight and others. I just had to accept the chance to tag along. Hope that is okay. If it works for you, then that's all that matters. I didn't think I'd be back in Haven so soon. Is that bad? No, I wouldn't say that. I just prefer places with less people for personal reasons. Kind of why I chose to be a travelling bard. Well, not just that I'm on the move, but sometimes it's nice to be away from the city. Well, I like adventure. Which is why I think I'll stay with the brigade, if that's alright. I'll play another tune too, I promise. That is fine with me. Awesome. Do you know where we go to next? I'm not too sure. Well, hopefully it's outside Melentia. Maybe Zemia? I'm sure I'll find out soon enough. The night inched close as I enjoyed the company of my brigade. Even among the solemn exhaustion of the day, many found light in the company of others. A warm drink by the fire and the cheese of friends can do wonders for the mood. Walking around the main hall of the Soaking Sanctuary, Zane and his staff was easy to spot among the common tavern-goers. Accompanying Zane stood Lindra and Azalea, the pale-hued fox. The trio sat joyfully at the table full of food and drinks set before them. It is Geraint, hey! I'm glad to see you made it. You probably have some questions. Lindra takes a second glance around the tavern, making sure she felt comfortable before pressing on. Yeah, we can answer anything now. During the Sarah, why did you run off in the temple? What all happened? Just not much a fan for archaeology. No jokes, I'm being serious. I know. I was getting there. You do remember how Carly was to me, yeah? Little goose. She wrinkles her nose in distaste. I didn't know where Zane was, and he damn near went running to the Lord about it. As you can see, I didn't harm nor hide the prince. Anyways, the temple. The whack arcane around the place, I wasn't feeling it. Something about it just didn't feel right. I'm with Carly and the Sarian mages there now. The place was cool when we found it, but I didn't much care for any of it at that point. I did the thing I was asked, which was showing you the place. I found out the stairs, I felt bad. I didn't want Cora or the others to get lost. She's so sweet to me. So I dropped the map, hoping you'd find it and make my way back to Asera. So why were you hesitant to the camp about telling me this? Lindra pauses a moment, contemplating something once again. Again, Carly, she mutters quietly. What do you mean? I didn't want to be around him when I told you. I just don't want him to report me to the Lord, or Queen of Era, or anyone for that matter. You have to promise me you won't tell him I told you anything. Seriously. I promise. Okay, so. I left because Carly paid me to leave. Huh? I know, my exact reaction when he approached me. I think everyone split up to explore the temple at that time. I didn't believe him, till he handed me a bag and said to leave. Paid me 20 gold to do it. He told me to drop the bag off in his room and he'd pay me another 20 after. I didn't question at that point. I didn't want to be there anymore. All around him, and he paid me to leave. Easiest 40 gold in my life. What was in the bag? A small stone or some crap. I glanced at it, but I could hardly read it. From the temple? Yes, well, I guess so. It had to be. Linra told me about it too. From the details, it's one of the tablets they wrote on, most likely. To keep records and stories. They who? The elves that came before us, I guess. Zane pushes his meal aside, rests his paws interlocked and set on the table in front of himself. Stories? What a lot of parchment we had in the Assyrian caves. The moist-air ruins, the papers. We have a few tablets from the beginning of Assyria being founded. Nowadays, we just use the bark of the tall caps, or cave shrooms. It's used for a lot of stuff. An adhesive or building material. It can also be kept thin to write on. That's what most of Assyria uses on the daily, as it grows back rather quick. Mostly any stories or records of civilization would want to keep, they chisel into the stone. And you didn't know what was on it? Linra shakes her head slowly. I don't read much, Alvin. Something about a sentinel, maybe? That's about it. Strange. Like I said, I don't know his deal, but that's all his baggage. Screw that goose. Yeah, bothers me a bit that Kali took it from the temple. But honestly, it'd probably get more attention being out of Sarah's hands. Creatures think the ruins are sacred history of Assyria, but they aren't. We hardly know about them as much as anyone else. You said you wanted to ask something of me? Ah, yes. Who are your promised passage I ever asked? A convoy of sorts. Yeah. Well, I'd like to invoke for that. Well, really, two things. Keep in mind you promised, and we unintentionally saved you on top of that. You don't have to remind me. Well, I knew time would come that I wanted out of Sarah by Zane and Azalea's side. Now that day has come. We're a bit aimless right now. No, I can fight, but I dare not get captured for ransom again. It was not a fun week. We like protection for a spell, travel together, that sort of thing. We won't force you to go anyway, and we'll do our own thing so we will never be in the way. It's just to get our feet in Melanthia's door and away from Sarah. So you just want protection? You'll go wherever we go? Exactly that. We can help out whenever needed. Just don't want to get caught by a gang of bandits while we're trying to figure out our next move. That, and if anyone from Sarah ever bugs you about seeing me, just say you haven't. Yes, that's maybe does our honour good, but we promise them to help someone. They can't always tell the truth. Simple enough. Ah, right. You also said there were two things? Oh, right. That was just the first. He claps his hands together before parting them in the direction of Azalea, who was mid-sip from the tea she'd held to her lips while glancing over. Azalea is a good companion of mine and has mentioned a few more rumours on some additional temples. If these temples are true, and anything like the one you guys found, I'd love to have a crack at the doors. Nothing like a good ancient puzzle solving. We'll let you know so we hear about any future temples. Or in exchange, we can split whatever we find in there. I'm not a grave robber. Whoa. Me neither. These temples don't have bodies in them, that we know of. We're just looking for a few extra things to help us out. If there's any massive discoveries and such, I bet I could send someone to let my dad know. As little as he cares, anyways. Zane pauses to roll his eyes. I'm sure some mages would love to figure out the pieces to what came before Sarah. Alright, we can do that. Hell yeah! Linra goes to high-five Azalea as they cheer in unison. I couldn't help but smile a bit at Linra. An otter so well reserved before meeting her now seemed so extroverted. Oh, sounds like a plan. Just let us know when we head out. Carly isn't coming with us, right? Her exuberant energy visibly stunned her by realization. I'm not really sure if he will be. I can't promise anything. As long as he keeps his distance, I'm sure Linra will be fine. I got my bow on me if the goose ever dares. Azalea chuckles by her friend's side. Hey, Geraint, care to relax a bit now that all the serious crap is over? Why not? Zane leans his elbow into the table. Twirling his fork in his paws, he looks at his plate. The contents of the steamed potatoes and array of mixed vegetables now cold from having been pushed aside. Oh, it'll be good to get to know each other, especially if we are to travel. I mainly just wanted to say thanks for allowing this. Recently I came across a small stack of gold, and I think I'd like to create my own brigade. Do something like the Raven Knights, but more artful. It sounds adventurous just looking at the group you've built. Oh, this isn't my brigade. Are you sure? He tilts his head with an eyebrow raised. It looks like they respect you, but they follow you. He motions to the tavern filled with a few of our guards still up for the night. Neither Corin nor Carly's around, yet they are all here with you, Knight. If that's not a leader, I don't know what is. I guess you're right. I know as wrath if I'm not. He slams his mug to the table with a snort, pushing his plate to the side once again. So what do you like to do? Oh, that. He sits upright in his chair. I'm an avid dice fan, if you couldn't tell. He expresses himself, paws out and palms up, separating his paws as to showcase the invisible space around him. You cannot tell by any given notion whether round or on his attire that signifies love for dice. I've won plenty of gold over a game of Black Mage. But what I enjoy above all that, if you can get along with anyone over a game of dice, then you know they can be trusted. How do you tell that? A lot can be seen by a creature, in the way they play. If a person is shady, they'll show it in a game of dice. How they compose themselves, how they react. And most importantly, if they try to cheat at something so effortless as dice, then what else more important or dark are they willing to cheat at? That is why I like to play. Should we play? We shall. Let's roll some, but I ain't going easy just because I met you yesterday. A wager? Okay, we'll do 10 gold. I really don't want to spend too much more than that. Yes, I'm expecting to lose already. Let's give it a go. Let's roll. Nice. It was worth rolling again. Oh, bad luck. Okay, he's got 8. 12. Anyone hole? Nice going there. Can we beat that? Probably not. Let's give it a try. Get 6. Roll again. 5, 11. What are the chances we get 2 5s or 6 and a 4? Very bad, apparently. I'm gonna let him have this round. I'm pretty sure we'll be bust either way. Oh, yeah. You can have that one. Round 3. 7. Roll again. 10. Roll again. 15. Yeah, it's worth rolling again. We've only got 15. And, oof, way over. Saints. Played a bit safe there. 5. Roll again. 14. We have to roll again. I mean, it's so low, and if we don't, we're definitely losing. Whereas if we roll, we might win. Or probably lose. 25. We lost. Either way, we're going to lose that one. Okay. C. 5. Roll again. Ooh, roll again. Okay, we're going to lose. What did I say? We're going to lose, and we lost. I had fun still, mate. Oh, thanks. Respond. Z. Seems like a nice guy. Oh, it's a fun game. We'll have to do more another time. I'm going to hit the hay for now. Night, Geraint. I took the time to mingle among the tavern and my brigade a bit longer, as the night grew rather late. Once weary enough, I retired to my room. My night did not last long, as I felt the second my eyes were closed, they jolted open to a quick repetitive knocking at the door. Early morning rays streaked through the window as I rubbed my tired eyes. Before I could stand, a folded parchment slides underneath the room door, followed by a voice on the other end. "A scout dropped it off this morning. Addressed to you, Lunar Knight." I heard the steps of the guard leaving down the hall by the time I had stood and reached the letter at my feet. A thin wax barely coated the centrefold. It didn't appear too important, having not been placed in a separate envelope for safekeeping. "Dear Lunar Knight, I write you today to request your presence. Meet him at my cabin just east of Haven Hearth. There is something important I feel you must see. Siga Vodos of Melentia." Interesting, I think to myself. I'll have to see what he wants to show later, once I'm done in Haven. But first I shall head to the throne room. Aside from a few guards, no one was in the throne save for Queen Lavera. Before my entering, 2 guards had crossed their polearms over the door, one even sneering before letting me through. Seems the Queen has closed the throne from visitors and hearings for the time being. Lavera watched my slow approach through the long hallway, taking a while before saying anything at all. Dark bags sat unwelcomely under her eyes, and her hair was not as well kept. She looks as though she spent every night so far in tears. I was nervous, waiting for her to yell at me in the same manner as of Kali. Would I be reprimanded? But it seemed her mind was kept elsewhere. "A knight, I have a desire to ask of you. Think me not a queen, but a mother. I don't want to worry myself, but I would hope no one lies within brigade. I hope what befell my dear son was not by the hands of a Melenthian or spy. If you know of anything, suspect anything, I can expect to hear it from you, correct?" "Yes." "Thank you, knight. It is hard for my mind to think about anything, since I heard from Kali. But I need to be here today, on the throne. The kingdom has little hope left. I'm sure you felt it among the streets of Havenhearth. I know something dark is brewing. I feel it always has been. Everything has been a challenge in the past year, and if we do not take control now, Melenthia will crumble. I tell you this because you are Melenthia's Lunar Knight. It is unfortunate you may never know away from where you came, but this place now is your home. I hope you are willing to protect it. The Culvens have been a never-ending pest, and now the Damaskians will reside within our boundaries. I could withdraw the deal, but that would destroy what little time we have left to prepare. I am deeply annoyed a deal was struck with them in any form, but they're all heathens. If it is war betrayers want, we must be ready for it. We are capable of fending off trouble for a time, or I'd be at peace to know we had further support. With that said, Knight, I have another task for you. I'm not sure if you know or not, but Zemir is a close ally of Melenthia. On paper they are as neutrals written into both the Damaski race, but our trades are good, and Loris Alair and I are rather fond of each other. Take your brigade to Azayama of Zemir and implore on my behalf for assistance. With time we'll march in force along Melenthia roads to show readiness to Damaskia. We will rid the roads of any bandits and make things better in time. That is the hope anyway. With the Marian forces, we could implore a strike against any who oppose us. As when willing that does not happen, but my kindness has been mistreated and I will allow it no longer. Are we at war? I know, but it may come to that. Bolster your brigade if you need to, but not allow anyone close whom you do not know well. Understood, Your Highness. Thank you, Knight. There is another reason I wanted to speak to you alone. This is of utmost importance. It does not matter rank, status, location. We need to pull any weeds possible. What do you mean? What I mean is, if you know anyone with questionable intentions, you need to tell me this now. Well, we can't mention Kali without revealing our source. We promised her we would not talk about it. And I can't honestly say I trust Lavera entirely in her present state of mind. So we'll hold our peace for the moment. I will let you know. Good. Just as we finished our conversation, Kali enters the room from the open doorway behind the throne. Ah, Kali, the Lunar Knight has just received their newest task. Hopefully it goes better than the decisions made in the Forest of Fey. Which reminds me, I know the decision was made by my dear Allikar, but I heard you are the deciding factor behind his ideals. I find it rather unsettling you convinced him to allow Damaskians at our doorstep. They could be behind everything that's been plaguing Melenthia from the beginning. It was Allikar's choice. One does not cast blame on others for actions you could have prevented. That is questionable leadership by none other than the Lunar Knight of Melenthia themselves. You are to fulfill the tasks at hand, realize who the real enemy of Melenthia is. Diplomacy or not, the Damaskians are untrustworthy, always have been. The only silver lining is the reduction of the troops agreed upon, and I can give you that at the very least. I hope in the future you'll do better by the crown. Is it all the more reason we need some Marian troops ready, in case this is employed by Tengoka? Take note, them is a fair ally to Melentia. They have strong neutral ties to Maskia. It may be hard to have them commit if they feel it could cause a war between them. But I think you'll do just fine. Here's your pay for your duties so far, knight. Okay, makes up for what we lost to Zane. Ooh, new dice set. And needless to say, Cora will be staying here for the time being for her safety. What about you? Yeah, I'll be staying in Haven for now. My work is hard to do on the road. What about Fender? I have not talked with him, but you can probably find him in his place of residence if you so wish. It is located just on the outskirts of the castle walls. What about Mayo and Soma? They are personal guards of the royalty of Melentia, but they are also skilled fighters, and Soma is good with his words. We'll be sending them both with you. Soma may prove useful for diplomacy if things are not going so well. Everyone else are members of the brigade. You can do what you feel is necessary to strengthen it on your travels. Also, one more thing. Please deliver this parcel letter to a creature in Ozayama. She mentions as Kali simultaneously hands me the parcel. Who? His name is Rashek. Now don't worry, he'll probably find you first. He's a leopard who wields the biggest axe you'll ever see, if you need to spot him. He should be near the Cedar Crest Inn. Hand the parcel over, and that is all that is needed. Return to us when all is said and done in Zemir. Thank you, knight. Let's check in with Fendu. Yeah, he might want to get away. We got enough people, we can keep him safe. Leaving the castle courtyard, I follow the interior wall around its perimeter. The nice, pristine cobblestones lead through a small street that gradually declined in its upkeep. The pathway soon gave way to loose stones that eventually morphed to nothing but a dirt path. For a moment I assumed I'd gone in the wrong direction entirely. The area soon opened up to a few bushes and trees, resembling a space almost fit to be renovated for a garden. Walking around a castle wall barely 8 feet or so tall, I found Fender's place of abode, which was, putting it lightly, there was not much to see of the rustic wooden slabs floor in the shack before me. The windows hazed over in dirt, making it hard to see inside. The door was left ajar, the hinges looking slightly loose and the corners clearly not aligned well with the frame. It looks as though closing the door entirely was most likely a hassle all in its own. I neared the shack with the door being left ever so slightly open. I quickly heard the conversational voices, not just Fenrir but Cora as well. Feeling the loosely fitted lock of the door, I put it open a tad more. They turned to me sharply, for I noticed both their faces light up, happy to be seeing me and not someone else, perhaps. Hey, Geraint. Hey, Geraint, she says with a raspy voice. How's your throat? It's scratchy, but I can talk without a cough. I feel okay. Cora mutters, sitting on the tiny 3-pronged stool near the centre of the room. Besides her, Fender sits cross-legged on a hanging bench nailed to brackets on the wall of the other side of the shack. The inside of the shack was stale. The area felt more open than I would have guessed, seeing it from the outside. Oh, Geraint, I have to show you. You glance at him as he stands up, holding his hands out to either side of him excitedly. This is my place. You like it? You take a second to glance around. There wasn't a lot to the furniture. Aside from the seating, there was a bed in the corner with several pillows and wool blankets piled on the side. A table in the far corner with several buckets of dishes, an adorable metal stove near with a metal pot set on top. Neatly carved shelves with intricate patterns were nailed above the bench, with a plethora of small items, books, and a ton of knickknacks. These shelves looked newer, the only area in the shack barely touched by dust. It was just as hard to gaze outside the dust-hazed window as it was to gaze in. It made the shack appear dark and dull, but something about it felt somewhat warm and inviting. For a shack. It's cute, to say the least. Thanks. I knew you were coming over. I'd try to clean it up some. Cora sits to the side quietly. Even in the darkness of the shack, her pale features of her face were clear as day. So what brings you here, Geraint? I'm leaving with the brigade soon. We're heading out to Zemia. Oh, so soon? Yes. I was curious if you're going to head out with us. Well, I've always wanted to go to Zemia, but I have to stay for Allikar. You won't stay for his sending? I'd not thought about that. You don't have to stay for it. I don't know how much you've enjoyed travelling, Fenrir. Cora turns to Fenrir, and from the corner of her face, you can still see a glistening in her eye, as if she's on the verge of tears already. I want to see Zemia, but I can't. I want to stay here with you, sis. But it's fine. You'll have a chance to travel again soon, I promise. Cora coughs a bit, clearing her throat near the end of a sentence. Oh, Geraint, if you are heading out, take this. I don't think I'll be needing it here. Hopefully you won't need it either, but you never know. Oh, thanks, Cora. Oh, thank you. I should get going. Safe travels. Have fun, Geraint. Okay. The trusted leader. We have Cameo, Soma, thing. I mean, I really trust Cameo, but maybe going this, it's kind of a diplomatic. We should probably go with Soma. I think he's going to be our best option for now. Good with the sword, good with his words. There we go. Okay. Soma it is. On the outskirts of Haven, Zane stops by a peculiar creature waiting at the gates. Would you look at that? Demon Salazar in the flesh. Zane. The creature willfully hugs his friend in greeting. It feels weird seeing you outside of a Sarah. Yeah, well, I better get used to it, Zane smirks. Any fun news? Yeah, from Lixia? No. I couldn't help but hear something you'd rather enjoy. Oh, yeah? He smirks again, this time with eyebrows raised and a growl to his words. Oh, the other kind, Zane. The beast chuckles. The temples? Oh, yes, tell me. It's been more of a cave than it used to be. It's been opened from old rocks that fill the mountains. Same range is located just below the Dual Divines. So cool. Oh, wait, what? Eastern temples? So they are not part of Asera? Interesting. Very interesting. Well, that's the thing. It is just rumours. Word was from a few kids, but also it's just a cave. So who's to really say? It doesn't hurt to check if you're out that way. Well, thank you, Demon. We actually are, so hopefully we can make time for that stop. That seems worth it. Keep me updated, I'll be around. Zane nods his way as we continue up to the road. Is there a stop we'll be making? Only if we have time, Geraint. If it was from a Sarah, I'd take it seriously. But being this far out, I can't imagine any temples. So I'll leave it up to you. Let's get going, shall we? did say he needed to talk to us, so I think we should probably check out what the Seeker has to say on our way. It's a little out of the way, but it's worth it. The trail cut off on the road to Haven, the trader's camp. I recognised the paved rocks leading away from the main path. I've seen it several times from passing by. I remember being told the Seeker's cabin led this way. It was the first I take it. The path was nice, well serviced and structured as much as dual divines. The trail led up an incline as we slowly gained elevation for a time. But the path soon fell bare. The stones no longer lined the pathway, and the trail ahead no more noticeable than a hiking path, fit for the occasional feral animal or wanderer. Thankfully, the walk was neither as long nor achingly twisty as the divines. Before we knew it, we wound upon a decently sized cabin, well kept with lovely pots of wild flowers and daisies set within the industrial confines of their crafted pottery homes. Attending these flowers was the lovely doe, Vacta, who stood courtly and bowed to us. The knights Geraint, Soma, Mayu, and others. Welcome. She bows again before turning her head to call through the cabin window. Odos, they have arrived. Her tone sharpened, turning the ever-friendly greeting to one of anxiety. I immediately wondered, even more so now, what it was they had to show me. It is nice to see you again, Vacta. She responded Soma with more words of her own, filling the time with idle chatter, for the expectations of the Seeker had grown longer than anticipated. Forgive me, I will return with haste, she mutters, leaving us outside to wait. The Seeker will have to see you inside, Knight. I nod, following closely behind Vacta. I felt the same energy within the cabin as the divines. The air was filled with floral scents, mixing with the overflowing pine of the surrounding outdoors. A small fire lit in the chimney, adding a soft orange glow to the room. Aside from the likely furniture and necessities, any empty space was overflowing with books, and the walls adorned in tapestries of divine nature. In the far corner, the Seeker sat propped in an old wooden chair. Gave little reaction to first seeing me, besides propping himself up more so in his chair. With a nearly indistinguishable gesture of his paw, Vacta nearby opens the wooden blinds to a window at the far side of the room, before going back to his side. Vodos groans mildly, closing his eyes in contentment as the sun embraces his fur. He slowly raised his paw to Vacta, signalling his desire to speak. She did so swiftly, nearly startling me as her eyes hazed over in blue and the Seeker's jaw hung loose. Have you taken the time to see the world around you? The sun but a pendulum to the clock we live by. Comforting at times, yet dreadful whenever it's realized. The fox's eyes fall from window to floor. A moment of silence yawns before his eyes drift back to meet mine. Windows sit to a soul before me of a mind with untold stories. He smiled a grisly old smile, built of one to reassure rather than express. I didn't know how to feel, so I stayed quiet. Just a moment, if not longer, before he would continue. Thank you for coming, Knight. There is something I want to show you, but before that I wish to tell you something disturbing. As each dusk comes, a new dawn feels harder to reach. Neo's whisper be at my ears. I consider now my deathbed as the only creature I expect to see after you will be Cora, when the time is right. And as all feeble minds go, I cannot help but wish to rid myself of something. I cannot let it go unknown, as much as it terrifies me, even in my time. I know who killed King Vesna, Geraint, for it may never have happened if not for me. What happened? The Divines have told me of your efforts to find home, Geraint. I am sorry if they were not successful, but so much has transpired of this world before you ever set foot in it. So much I cannot express that may help ease what I'm about to say, or at least help you to understand Melanthia's plight. The Seeker shakes his head wearily. Almost a fortnight ago, I sent an assassin to murder Kali. In the creature's mistake, he was seen in the crown chamber halls with blade drawn. From what he told me, he was mere meters from Kali's door. The night was quiet. Guards only set in foot near the throne in the king chambers. They were not near at the time. But by Aswin's ill-fated command, he ran into King Vesnar in the halls, who, one could only guess, was kept late in slumber. Perhaps by work or wandering mind. We will never know. The king quickly apprehended him in a fit of desire to escape. The fool cut the king down and ran for the door. He told me there was no attempt for a fatal strike, but luck was not on his side. I cannot tell even now if that were true or not. The Seeker looks down, a moment of deep silence speaking louder in the room than anything else. Aswin, forgive my soul, but it was the only thing I had ever planned of dark deeds. I expected to face what I decided, but not this. The Seeker's duty had betrayed, and have been wrought with it ever since. Others may never understand, but I wish to help you try, Geraint. I don't expect forgiveness. I must merely express the truth. I have spent decades as a Seeker, starting since an age younger than Chorus. I stuck to my duties, and the kingdom let me down, as I did in return. Unexpectedly, a cruel joke by Aswin I must listen to. Mayhap an early consequence of karma for the dark actions I was yet to fulfill. You see, Geraint, the firstborn is always set to be the Seeker, until death sets forth, and the next born in the row will learn to take that spot, so long as they're not heir to the throne, otherwise known as the secondborn. I was the firstborn under my father Mullen, ruler of Melanthia of the Second Era. When I was even 10 years of age, I was forced into Seekerhood early by quick comatose of my predecessor. I was quick to realize the pressures of royalty, not just from my own problems, but that of my parents. For the eras to be long meant they needed many children, but something was always wrong there. My soon-to-be first brother perished before a day out of the womb. It wasn't until nearly 16 winters passed that my first and only sister, Zoka, would enter this world. The second-born. And after 3 more years, we welcomed the birth of my youngest brother, Jeremy. But my mother would not survive this ordeal. With ill fates for my home written in stones of decay, my father passed not but a few years later, before in a disease of dire reckoning. If you do not guess by now, I am Vodos Colviet, the last of my name. Zoka soon set to take the throne in the family's name as Queen Colviet, for she was second-born. I was old enough to understand the circumstances, but Zoka was barely 6. Well, I should have been there more for them, but I was doing what I had to. Because I was firstborn, I had to be a Seeker. The throne quickly passed to Zoka, who was all too young to be ruler, fit with no parents to help. The pressures of the kingdom, the loss of our parents, she needed someone there. As unfit in rulership as I was for Seekerhood. 9 years. 9 long years with the pressures of a kingdom. She had mentors, advisors. They aren't what a child needs, though. In this time, I already knew Vesnar personally, as he was close friends with my father. On a week-long journey to Silverville, alongside his wife Lavera and the upcoming advisor Carly, Zoka turned vile. I was aware of my sister, but I had not talked with her for a time. I did not know how bad things got, until I heard the news like everyone else in the kingdom. Zoka Culviet lived a short reign of only a few years. On an annual celebration of her inheriting the throne, she locked up her family alongside with our brother in the dining hall. She set ablaze to the building, killing herself and all that remained of the true Culviet reign. I could not take the throne, as my duty was set as Seeker. With no heirs left, the throne had to pass in power to the dedicated inheritor and friend to Mullin, Lord Vesnar. I did not take up the rumours alongside the feeble-minded who wished to blame such things on Vesnar and Lavera. Perhaps I was the feeble-minded, blinded by my duty. I do not know. How old are you? The Second Era was not that long ago. You are right. It hasn't even reached the second decade of the Third Era, but it is close. I was 16 by the time my sister was born, and by the time the Third Era came to start, I was already 31. And now, I'll be 50 years of age soon. Yet the powers of the arcane, these powers, they drain you. I can say I'm lucky, since a commoner can only dream to reach an age such as mine. Yet all my peers that do make it, so many that are much older, yet I somehow feel and look older than them all. What does this have to do with Carly? I'll tell you, Geraint. I continue to serve the kingdom as Seeker. I trusted Vesnar as if he were a brother. But I also know Carly well. He's always been ill-tempered, always seeking control. He had corrupt words he'd always whisper to Lavera, and she had turned to Vesnar with ideas far from fitting for a king. I never held ill will to Vesnar, nor Lavera. But it was in time they tried to change too much, ignored the rumours. They did whatever they could to change Melenthia in a way they wanted. The kingdom grew weak. Their changes angering those who always believed they plotted against the Culviet name to take the throne. I was witnessing the beginning of an end, a crumbling kingdom. I wanted to do what I thought would save Melenthia and her people. If I could rid the Whispers to Lavera and Vesnar from the power-hungry words of Carly, I thought they would turn their attention best to the kingdom. I knew Vesnar was capable. People disfavoured him, but I knew he could change their minds with time. But all was not in favour of my deeds. None of this should be the way it is. What changes did Vesnar make? Too many for me to remember all, but they started small. Heavier taxes, stricter rule of Haven Hearth. They wanted to fight corruption and rebuild the economy, but they went about it too fast and in the wrong ways. But the biggest things was announcing Allikar as heir. As I said, the firstborn under rule becomes Seeker, the second becomes heir. Allikar was born well before Vesnar took rule. Koro's true firstborn, destined for Seekerhood. In all rights and purposes, Fendur should be heir. He is not the legitimate son of Lavera, but he is the son of the king. In Fendur's early days, I recall Vesnar and Lavera fighting often. I do not think their marriage fared well. In her wishes, Vesnar cast Fendur aside to please her. The kingdom not only see them go against tradition for Allikar, but also saw a king kick his own youngest out to the royal title by all accounts. That is not marked in the rules, but even you and I can see why the kingdom would want to question the words of a father who couldn't even hold his family intact. All these things added up with time. Didn't their fight to fix things only broke them more? So what happened to the assassin?
I heard the news well before he showed himself to me. He was ashamed. Quite frankly, I was terrified for the future. I could not let him leave Malenthia and cause further difficulty. I'd already done the worst in the eyes of our gods. I knew I was doomed, so what was one more death by my name? I killed him here, once he returned.
So no one else knows you did this?
The Divines only know. It will haunt me forever, beyond death. I did not do my part to rid the world of decay, but I do not plan to only confess to you.
What you did was not right, even if you're trying to make things better.
I know. I do not hide from it.
Kingdom should know what you've done.
As I have said, I do not seek forgiveness. But telling them now will only make things worse. With how the kingdom fares, half will be filled with sadness. The other half will merely jump for joy. They'd revere me for helping further the Coven Bandits' agenda. I don't want to be revered. I don't want to further divide Malenthia. The only creature who must know is Cora. I was preparing to tell her, to let her know everything. She deserves it more than anyone. But then, Allikar. Too much has happened. And if the kingdom were to find out now, they may destroy the Seekers altogether. I am near, Geraint. I am near my end. Cora will be the last I tell, but I must be the one to tell her. But know you are obliged to nothing. Just know the truths will now carry on. The Divines may tell you the rest.
They may tell me what?
Something darker than my deeds lays in wait. I am scared to leave this world with no power to make amends for the decay I have wrought. I must take you to see her.
Who?
You'll see.
Slowly, the Seeker withdrew his hand from Vaktar as the hazel hue of her eyes resurfaced with a blink. With trembling hands and pain-filled eyes, Vodos withdrew his gaze from me to retrieve his staff. Pressing it to the ground, he used it as a prop to slowly rise from the chair with a groan.
Come,
she says simply as I follow her outside. In the fresh air of the sun, my friends looked at me with curiosity. Ignorant to the information that just passed to me, their glances shifted from intrigue to empathy. I could not hide my emotions well. Vodos was the last to leave the cabin. He held his staff to himself and closed his eyes. Even though he could not talk, I saw on his quivering lips the tremble of whispers he murmured in his mind. First his wrist, and his staff grew in a soft blue haze. He led us through the thinning trail that led farther north with an upbeat pace that was slightly more capable, but still noticeably weak all the same. Whatever arcane energy he drew from was hardly enough for him in his old age. We hiked for miles as the day grew on before emerging from the mountain paths to reveal the dark blue seas to our left. And further we went still. We did not stop until we reached the bottom of a hill that held a ruin atop it, a tree grown notably within. The wind was strong here, sending chills across my skin. The seaside breeze blew fresh air, but all the while my mind could not clear. Vaktar nodded as to herself, or turning to the brigade.
We'll let the secret night go from here.
They stood near the base of the hillside, leaving me to the Seeker as we continued to the trail's end.
could not place it, where everything of this place felt familiar. Feelings began to wash over me. It was not until we neared the ruin that I realised I'd set foot in this place before. A gorgeous tree stood before me, with vibrant hues I'd never seen elsewhere in nature. The pink fade to its leaves darkened near the base, with red petals that fell and scattered about the floor of the ruins. It was then I realised this is where I dreamed in my mind, when I first spoke with the dual divines. The Seeker stepped back, gesturing his paw to the tree. I slowly stepped forth to a small shrine that stood at its base. With the Seeker far enough away, I began to feel something more than just emotion. I felt the energy of the place, a power that surged through me. I could not grasp what it was. But what stood out the most was a gorgeous green glow that protruded from within the trunk of the spiraling tree before me, pulsated as I felt my very heart begin to beat rapidly. I turned back to the Seeker, unsure what he wanted me to do. His gaze left me and was now set far across the sea. Seeing the ocean springs emotions into my brain, as if I'd woken from a dream, only for a split second. The thoughts that graced me I lost within mere seconds, unable to recall. Anxiety beat against my chest as I watched the waves crash recklessly against the stones far below. The thoughts were gone. This feeling drummed against the very bottom of my heart, a terrifying repetitive drum that filled me with nerves I never knew I had. Existential dread filled me as my mind wandered to the thoughts of death and afterlife. Why was I thinking this way? The origin of these thoughts were not my own. They powered my mind to trail from them. If I were to die, what would become of me? Would I turn to sand the same as the others? Would I receive ascended fit for beauty and passion? Or would I be left to decompose and decay like a feral beast? I do not believe such things. They are a waste to me. I need not think of something that would mean nothing in the end. Regardless, this is my life here and now. I will be kind to those I know, because this is my reality now. I shook my head free. Bewildered by my thoughts, I choose to ignore them. I turned to the tree, reaching my hand slowly through the air towards the unnatural glow before me. The wind grew fierce as I heard the whistles of the leaves above me. As if the air grew stiff around me, I felt it hard to even move. The closer my hand drew to the tree, the harder it felt to reach. My thoughts began to feel jumbled. For a moment I felt as though I forgot what I was doing. Was I standing here like a fool, arm outstretched and suspended before me? Then the wind began to howl, furiously. My ears felt as they resonated with vibration from the ruin, magnified by the ancient bricks that built it. The resonations pulsed, seeping into my head until, suddenly, it was gone. The wind calmed, the resonating stopped, leaving me lightheaded. And then the tree spoke. I had not touched it, the words echoed around me all the same, but these words were not audible. My ears heard only the sea and the calm winds in the tall grass behind me. These words carried a different wave. I'd had vibration deep in my head. I heard the tree's words in my mind. You can hear the whispers of the dead, can you not? Behind your shoulder they speak, some in jealousy, some in regret. Some are joyous as they wait their final turn. Their voices always felt but rarely heard. Long ago, when Melenthia was but a child, a woman stood on this very hill, looking to the waves as the Seeker now does. She had been through so much, seen so much, crossed the forsaken, endured Decayum's very fears. In her final days, a whisper followed tears. The voice trailed off. For a moment I thought I'd imagined it all, but then the voice boomed in my head again. Geraint, the Lunar Knight. I am humbled to finally meet you.
It is I, the voice of the dual divines, who speaks to you now.
Do you know why it is the Saga has no words?
I pondered for a second, wondering what she meant. I assumed she referenced his inability to speak with no tongue.
A seeker carries with a gift and a curse. A moon shard rests within his wrist, intertwined by his veins. A gift that's passed down for eons. It is power immeasurable. The seeker cannot speak. They are not allowed it. For he holds a moon shard or esker, a shard of wishes. Every word he could whisper would be reality. Why their ill fates or begotten desire?
Every curse spoken in fury's blind rage would be brought to fruition.
He could help in endless ways, or accidentally bring forth an end of days. Seekers bear the mark, but cannot speak the words, for the safety of creature kind be at hand. Or even the seeker, a blade once shattered cannot be told an apology.
Some things can never be reversed,
lest it destroy the wielder and their conduit.
I know he told you what he has done.
Aswin will decide his fate beside me.
But do you know why the Seeker's duty was created?
The custom of which was bestowed to them?
To seek Aswin's light? Rid the world of decay?
No. That is a lie. A fabrication of a story to spread hope among the helpless. The Seeker's goal was created with creature-kind's selfish desires in mind. They were not made with divine inclinations. There are only but 3 moon shards in all of Earthia's existence. The blue shard of desire, Oeskia. The second, green shard of spirits, Vatia. And the third, I have yet to know. I can almost sense its presence in Alenthia here and now. When a stone lies dormant, arcane tracing can at work. The minute it is used, all will know. The Seeker's duty was to their kingdom, to seek the shards themselves and all its glory they would hold. Tales told long before I ever walked the plains of creature kind. It was rumoured having all 3 would give unfathomable power. A godly creature you would be. I was the first of the Seekers, and it took me all too long to realise the error in my ways. To seek too much power, too much control, only devastates. I helped mould the Seekers, and it was not long after I passed that I tried my best to hide all matters of history. Shame, regret, selfishness. Like any creature, I was once consumed by my mortal life.
I cannot remember why.
I tried to shape the Seekers and Melentia to better ways, perhaps to right my wrongdoings, but to no avail.
Why are you telling me all this?
Creature kind knows of the tales of origins, the stories of their gods, the fall of decay.
They are aware of the celestial cycles,
the dance of death Earthia, and they will fall into. But they do not know the realization the cosmos holds around them.
You know why?
Cora told me about the gods. And you know. It is a responsibility creature kind falls into, to follow the laws of life and not kill, to be kind and compassionate, to follow Aswin so they can show Decay's hex no longer lives inside them. Only then will Naoa and Othea be free. There is no reward system. This is no fairy tale. You are either a good person, or you are not. You are not forced to believe anything. Simply there are tales that are real, and tales that are not. In the end, Aswin decides, based not only on your actions, but your heart. In the end, you'll either suffer a fate of Decayum, learn and be reborn, or pass the gates to Neo's realm. Just like the kings and queens of Melenthia, and the founders before them, same as Vesnar, when his soul finally arrives. But even in such stories, do we not realize the severity of them? Even I, for one, once believed no reality was truly so real as that. Until the old stones of Othea spoke to me, and I saw echoes of memory. When creature kind overstepped its bounds, when the hex of Decayum deafened us all with fury, Naoa descended on the very end of days. And in a valley of kings, mountains quaked as if mere ferns to the wind's breeze. Boulders tumbled to the sky, as effortlessly as pebbles thrown down hillside. Dense fog drowned Othea with the force that of a tsunami. Inland it swept. Wondrous cities were torn from their foundations like weeds, layers of brick shredded to ashes in the wind. Only after does the world stand still once again. In the end, Naoa's fire devours all. Not with a searing blaze, with a bone-shattering freeze. Flames of Naoa tear open the sky, ripping the air from lungs, and with it a chill of night never felt before. What lies inside the Seeker is a stone as old as time, and soon it will pass to Korra. It must pass to Korra. I am scared what the days will bring, but I do not wish her to be a tool to power as I had been, as Vodos has been, as even I cannot control what Vodos rulers tell him. Korra must be the one to break that cycle. You must find the third shard night. It may be the only hope of turning back the tides of decay. I will deal with Vodos. We have yet to know the shard's significance. We have yet to feel its repercussions. But the day may be closer than ever realized, as I can see the very inklings the conduit leaks into the river of the arcane. The one taken from you that day. Othea shudders, Geraint. We all feel her tremble. Without another word, the voice faded from my head. The glow from the trees ceased to barely glisten beyond the aged brown roots. I turned to my party to the Seeker had left. Everyone else stood by the base of the hill, patiently waiting still. It looks like she spoke to you for a while. You'll most likely feel dizzy in the head for a spell. I'll walk you guys back. I was quiet most of the way. Stuck only in my head, I pondered so much now. What I needed to do, where I could even start. I had no clue. Perhaps the temples. The Ysera ruin had so much about it pointing to what the Divine just told me. It makes more sense now, if only slightly. I shudder at the terror a day like that could cause. But for now, I needed to head to Zemia. I still have to uphold what the Queen had asked of me. Perhaps I could uncover something along the way. Yes. We should see what we can uncover along the way. So, this is it, huh? It is what we were told. It doesn't look like it's all this cracked out to be. Azalea does a slow turn to Kyo, a quizzical look upon her face. This is not the temple. The cave leads to the temple. I know. I'll wait to make my comment later, or maybe. We step into the gap of the mountainside rock. Kameo in the back calls ahead. Well, I'm going to watch the entrance, out here. Well, let me know if you need anything. So, how did you guys learn of this place? No word more, like any of the great detail. Zane lets have a soft chuckle. To be honest, I don't believe this one was true. Well, as long as it actually is. Zane's voice trails off the old turn about the centre of the cavern chamber. The cave was hardly larger than the dining hall, with only a few small crevices and a still water pool at the lower end of the room. There's no other exit to the cavern. The way we came in was the only way to go. I have a feeling this temple may be harder to find, if it is real. Maybe Soma can help us out here. Maybe you can use your treat here, Soma. What for? Maybe there's a magical barrier of some sort? Something that blocks us from entering. Oh, very smart. See, I told you should get into learning magic, Zane. You realize how expensive a trainer is, don't you? Soma brings his paw to his necklace. Holding the stone for a moment, its glow lights up the room. Oh, natural one. Terrible. But nothing seemed to show itself. Nothing. Dang. A false lead, Zane? Yeah. And this? They turn to me as I step into a puddle of thick mud. I take my foot over to still water at the bottom of the cave to wash the mud off. As I go to place my foot down to what looks like a shallow pool, I'm shocked to be met with zero resistance. Like missing a step on a flight of stairs, my weight shifts farther than expected as I topple over into the pool. After several tumbles, I get up, barely grasping the fact I'm not wet and now lie at the bottom of a flight of stairs. I look around bewildered, realising I'd fallen through an illusion of a fake pool and found what I can only guess to be the entrance to a temple. Are you okay down there? We're on our way. Would you look at that? Oh my, it's dark in here. But it's real. This has got to be it. I hate it when I have a hidden DC. Oh, who shall we go with? I think we can trust Mayu. Seems to know her way around. I can take lead. But this is not going to go well. Mayo leads the way. We continue cautiously, unsure what may lay ahead, but to no avail. I quickly hear the ominous click of a switch behind us. With no sufficient warning, I hear a switch of darts shooting from holes in the walls on either side of us. By this moment, we're all in the centre of the hall. Some of us duck quickly, others leaping out of harm's way. The darts clatter violently with falls against either side of the hall, only stopping after a few dozen litter the floor around us. Some of us were left with small gashes in our arms and shoulders. Luckily, no one was shot directly, something that would have proven quite lethal.
We shakily stand, continuing on the hall with hearts thumping.
Yeah, wish I'd brought potions. I'm expecting a puzzle with the temple. It's not a challenge.
She wipes a paw across her brow, as if to swipe away the nerves that racked her. Any wrong move and Aswin alone would know what could happen to any of us. Or only halfway through the hall. Something in my gut told me sprinting the rest of the way could permit easy dodging of any unforeseen traps. Now what am I thinking? That'd be foolish desperation. There has to be something to ensure we reach the end in one piece.
I don't have great arcana.
I'm not going to attempt a DC 17 here. I've got 5 health potions. Let's try running to the end. Given where my rolls have been going. Nice, now I get it. It worked, or so I hoped. Before we could reach the other end, I heard the worried shout of a guard preceding the moment the ground beneath our feet would shudder. Tripwire, run! The shouts were needless. The ceiling opened up the unnerving dark above, letting loose heavy boulders and bricks that hailed down upon us. Everyone huddled at the end of the hall, hoping how to reach the falling stones that piled into the temple hallway. The debris kicked all matters of ancient dust and dirt that smoked out my vision and choked me. Only after the dust had settled could we count the heads of our party and breathe a sigh of relief. Everyone was fine, save for the few cuts and bruises.
Yeah, I wouldn't normally say this, but if there's the hall beyond, I think I'll wait here.
Oh, don't be like that. We've been through worse. I'm curious to see what worse looks like.
I'll tell you, Soma, but maybe not when I'm trying to fight off a near heart attack.
Zane mutters, clutching his chest.
I'll tell you over brunch.
Turning to the end of the hall, I glanced around the corner, expecting the entrance to another hallway, but we were met only with a stone wall.
What? Dead end? This cannot be right. Surely we are missing something. Is this like the temple wall Ninra the Night opened?
Oh, hardly. Those bricks had all manners of glyphs, numbers and letters. This doesn't have anything.
The bricks.
Ah, here. Azalea trails her fingers across the edges of each block, until one wriggles under the pressure of a touch. She shakes the block until it falls free from its placeholder, revealing the small slot within. The slot was engraved in the shape of a tree tier. I leaned to get a closer view of the grooved marks. A keyhole of sorts. I could try and pull the tree tier from my sword and place it in the slot. Just see what might happen.
Oh, we got to put in maybe Soma.
Can you use your stone, Soma?
That will not do. The stone is empty.
What do you mean? How?
I used the last bit in the room above us. That is all a stone can hold.
No, of course not. I just keep forgetting to charge mine is all. Alright then. I can use mine. I pull the stone from my sword and place it in this slot within the bricks. At first it does nothing, but soon grows bright. Then, nearly blind as the hall around us is lit bright as day. When I go to open my eyes, the wall was gone, and my stone left upon the ground. What hid behind the wall was but a room no bigger than the closet. The light of our torches roughly lit the jagged edges of broken pots and rubble. A few coins among odds and ends covered the floor, but nothing stood out. Nothing except for a strange rustic sword lodged within a molten rock. The sword was in no better condition than the worst blade found upon the battlefield of bandits and peasants. The parts of the blade that showed were severely chipped and rusted beyond repair, met with an old steel rod and what was once probably a fine pommel with a handle. No comfortable straps or leather wrapped the grip, and the shape of the pommel looked to wrap around an old rock gem in an uncomfortable balance. Not sure if the sword was the point of this place or not. Yes, this is the hidden treasure. What is this purpose? Yes, can't be all of it. Zane shrugged in response, all of us silent in disappointment. We risked our lives for rust and rubble. Oh, we went through several passages and traps. Clearly they wanted this hidden for no one to reach. It must be important. I guess he could be right. It could be important. With a snap of dismay, part of the metal guard shattered, throwing me against the wall, left only the peculiar handle of the sword in my palm. I noticed the majority of the blade was gone. The pieces to it were not left in the rock, seemingly as if this sword was broken before being placed here. I glanced over the object now freely in my hand. Nothing stood out about it, but I decided to hold on to it anyways, as awkward as the stone in the pommel made it feel. If that is everything, then let us leave quickly. The rocks, they're blocking the way out. There must be a small opening on the side still. It's wide enough for everyone, but we'll have to crawl through one at a time.
Thank us when you return. I heard a weird rumble from inside and I was scared for a long while.
All is good, Cameo. Let us head out. After that, we should go and get some rest. Nearing the edges of Melenthia, a large river ahead represented the lands of Zemia beyond. Her day has been long, friends. We'll camp tonight near the calm waters of the channel. A new dawn tomorrow let us reach Ozayama in fresh spirits. We set up camp rather quickly. Many retired to rest early, exhausted from travelling. I sat by the fire, listening to the calm waters swish by as it flowed farther north to the sea. To my surprise, Mayo sat nearby and watched the waters next to me. Cameo stood not far off, leaning on a tree and gazing at the bridges stood across the waters. Of course we have to go and talk to Cameo. I stepped through the thin grass to Cameo's side, who stares longingly to the bridge leading to Zemia. From this distance it looked no larger than the stone stream crossing a valley of blue.
Do you think Tal is there? Somewhere in Zemia?
It's possible. Do you think she'd leave for Zemia? Cameo slowly shakes his head.
I cannot tell. I always thought I knew my sweet Tal. I thought home was enough for her, but I had thought wrong.
Would she have a reason to leave?
I gave her everything. She was never angry or talked back. Sometimes she'd sit by the window and doze off in the fields. That is all I can think. I knew she was bored at times in Daeul. That bored. To leave home, risk danger. I worried she was not ready. I could have helped her if I only knew.
Perhaps she thought it'd worry you.
The shock is worse. I feel...
We can keep an eye out for a while in Zemia.
Thanks, I appreciate it, Geraint.
Nice. More bond with Camille. Did I mention I like him? Let's go and have a quick chat with Mayo. Hey, Mayo. I look to her as she sits still, gazing over the waters. I joined in the moment, watching the hues of blue in the distance sparkle with the falling sun. I stayed calm and quiet by the fire. Mayo did the same, relaxing her shoulders with a soft sigh. The sounds of the channel waves fluttered softly without the crackling of the fire. After a long moment of peaceful silence, I bring up conversation. What are you thinking about?
A rest,
she says softly, patting me on the shoulder as she stands.
Thanks, Geraint, for joining me, even though I bear dull company.
She smiles, leaving me to the sounds of the fire's crackle. The morning was calm, my restful fill-in. A small folded letter lay next to me on the ground.
Geraint, I did not want you to worry. I have left early, but I will see you on Ozyama. I felt there was something I needed to see first. Across the bridge, a path to the right, between the hills. You might find me there if you so wish. Mayo.
As always with Mayo, I could not tell quite what she was thinking. She didn't seem like she wanted anyone with her, or she wouldn't have left alone. She should let me know where she was going. I'll have to decide whether to go and see her or just meet up in Ozyama whenever she's done. I'll continue with Soma.
Does she want us there? Does she not?
Well, given she was happy just to have silence before, and also because this video is now getting over an hour and 3/4, I think we're going to head on to Ozyama. We can talk to her there. Diplomacies of Mary and Root, sugar bark tea and such. So much to see. Interesting. Let's go to this. We'll chat to Mayo then. I was pleasantly surprised to see the absence of the walled infrastructure like Havenhearth's. Even the similarities, or lack thereof, in the obnoxious and busy town streets. Ozyama had neither, so large trees enveloped and guided our path, now leading to the very heart of the city itself. The streets weren't packed, but it was lively here in a small town like Abo. Unlike Haven as well, Ozyama was not the capital of Zemia, if I remember correctly from the small conversations I overheard from days prior. The peculiar resin-like citrus odor of the trees wafted through the town, alongside a plethora of scents I could hardly comprehend. Rooty teas, some baked treats from within the windows of an inn across the street, and a strong hint of lavender from a nearby home battled for the capacity of my senses. It was peaceful, comforting.
And do we know where we are going?
Azalea's tone sent me into realization the crew was talking all the while.
Yes, the Loris Stone can be found near the end of the Crowan district. The largest street takes us right there, so we are fine.
The district felt huge, although there were far less buildings here than Havenhearth. The structures were strewn throughout lumps of flower beds and groups of trees, with the wide flagstone streets separated all further. I could feel more relaxed here than in Haven, knowing I wouldn't accidentally bump shoulders with any creatures if I wasn't looking. Two polished and well-kept stone shrines marked our path to a building of which its doors hung open, revealing pristine white walls within to reflect the outside light. This building marked the end of the largest street on Ozyama and the point of our destination. As we advanced towards the steps, a loud sudden bang came from inside. The parchment window to my left tore violently as a canine creature tumbled from within, splintering the thin wooden frames along with him. It took hardly a moment's notice if I saw anyone else fall leaping to his feet and sprinting away. The head of an armed guard poked from behind the window, glancing around feverishly. Spotting the canine, he points and shouts. "Oi, stop him! He took something from the Loris." Do a roll. I immediately sprang into action, giving chase. First, it felt the right thing to do. Yet, if I catch him, it should help me further negotiate with Dolores. At first, he can't get away. I don't know how, considering his canine physique, but as soon as I began my run, I could see the distance between us already shortening. I was nearly on his heels already. Within reach, all I needed was something to stop him. For it, I can't remember what my agility is. I can't do that. Plus a DC 6. Then again, I used to be a rugby player, so my first thought would actually I could barely keep pace. It was now or never. Take my chance to leap from behind and grasp out to tackle him. Aiming for his shoulders, I was barely lucky enough to grasp for his waist. That split second was almost all he needed to get away from me. I felt the ground come to us quickly as we crashed and rolled. The canine growled in annoyance, kicking at me all the while. "Stop!" I shouted, throwing punches in return for grasping the bag he clutched so intently. Realising he could not pull away from me now, he let go entirely. The weight I had been pulling against sent me flying backward. He sprinted away as so many others caught up. But at least I had the items. Damn right, impressive. What did he take? Looks to be jewellery and gems. I'm not really sure what else. Oh, great, let's return these to Loris at once. Upon our arrival, a group of guards inside the throne room formed two lines in quick succession, their lines creating a channel within the hall that led directly to a lady who sat calmly at the throne. One of the guards held his paw out for the bag of gems, of which I hand to him. As we approached Dolores, I squinted in disbelief. Perhaps blinking 1,000 times before I could make out for sure, an awe-striking feature I've not seen on anyone else before. Dolores tilted her head to me and a smile crossed her lips. She was human. Nobody told me this. What? Who is she? Dolores sat quiet, her smile revealing well-kept pearl-white teeth that matched the colour of her hair she wrapped in a bun behind her head. Bangs swept in front of the very eyes that gazed almost uncomfortably long at me. "Hello," she says simply. We know some diplomacy. I maintain my composure and give a soft bow. Greetings, Loris.
Please, you can call me Allikar. Welcome, Tosiana. Of course, I can see it is you with the night, and with your entourage as well. Welcome all. Do you like our city of trees?
It is gorgeous.
It truly is, isn't it?
So, you're human? She merely chuckles. I'm bewildered. No one told me? I turn from a slight nudge on my shoulder to see Soma lean towards me.
Loris is not human.
Elf? I glance back towards Dolores in confusion. I do not mean to be rude.
You are not. You are fine.
She chuckles once more.
No, I am not elf either. I am what we call a Sunix.
I blink a few times, slightly bewildered as I think I can see the form of Dolores slowly shifting. But my eyes were playing tricks, with a shape fully transformed, more prominently that of a fox.
Sorry for the tricks. I was hoping that perhaps it would give you more comfort to see a human. But alas, I am fox. But then I had realised too late that it was probably an unsettling, possibly cruel gesture. I feel so sorry. Please know it was under best intention. So, what brings the Knight of Melenthia to Zemia's doorstep?
I tell her of the situations behind Melenthia and Damascia. The events have recently transpired in the needs Queen Lavera faces. I mention the deal we struck with Ivro and the Ravens, something that wears on Lavera's unease. In the midst of my summary, a guard approaches Dolores, leans his muzzle to her ear and whispers. Her eyes widen with excitement.
You got it? You got back what that thief has stolen from me? You really are as kind as the tales confess of you, Knight. I am flattered by your act. It will have to be repaid as soon as I can think of such. And as you say, I can see Lavera is having difficulty. That is a true shame.
She frowns.
So what is it exactly she has sent the knight for?
Support in the form of forces, indirectly if needed, but preferably as direct as possible. Alea places her slim fingers to her muzzle.
Is this directly against Damascia, though? I can see why Lavera falls in an impression Damascia can't be to blame. They are as likely to be in his hand as to not. Respectfully.
She keeps her fingers close to her chin, as if the touch itself helped her think more clearly.
As unfortunate as what has transpired, I hate to say, assassination by Damascia is a move that would make zero sense. They just struck a deal with Melenthia. Why on earth, Theo, would they call a hit instantly after the meeting? Not only does that possibility ruin that deal, it ever so clearly points the finger to them. Tenoka, while hot-headed, is still a smart strategist. Alongside his commander, that makes two. They would not make a move so naive as that. It is not that Lavera accuses Damascia, not yet. She merely is in worries if it could be. It's not so much as direct recruitment to bring an attack on Damascia. I don't see Lavera making any first moves. To show diplomacy in Melenthia and Zemia, to mess with one would be to mess with both. I'm sure that would help Zemia as much as it does Melenthia. Laura Salea quickly frowns, interjecting me. But Melenthia is the one clearly in need, and most likely in a possible danger. I have no threats, there's no worries. You need that diplomacy more than me.
The forces would mainly procure safety of the roads.
My issue is just the purpose. It seems that Vera knows little of the situational threat at hand. I imagine then, the use of forces, if any, should hardly be as necessary as it seems.
Yes. Mention the Colvins. It's also not just the Damascan issues, there are the Colvins as well. The forces will help there too. I should really just stop talking at this point. The most realistic outcome would be a raid of the forest. Raid an abandoned outpost or two. Something that could pose almost no risk to a combined army.
I would never blindly send my men out to join an extermination of a group, bandit or not. Especially on the whims of a hunch.
It's clear the rest of the layers not to warm the idea of helping Melenthia out. So, you will send forces to Melenthia? These rolls are terrible. Dolores pauses for a long while, considering the entirety of the conversation and pondering all options.
Unfortunately, I must officially decline the offer. I cannot risk upsetting Damascus, even if it is not directed towards them. Let alone risk her aiding something Lavera has little knowing of. It seems a personal issue that should be addressed in her courts and not mine. I'm sorry. I wish I could help further. It just does not sit right with me. However, I did manage to retrieve my gems from the thief, so that does not go unnoticed. And I do value the relationship Zemia has with Valentia, albeit neutral. I'd like to keep it that way. But that's not mean I cannot offer minor assistance.
Thanks to the soldiers.
It is no army, but they can help with a few bandits, as long as they are housed like royal guards and they gather materials when any bandits are sent our way. I'm assigning them to you directly, so that you can make sure of their order and well-being. If the bearer wishes them at the head of any issues with Damascus, they are to be called back immediately. That is a demand of this agreement.
Thank you, Loris. This will help Valentia greatly, I'm sure. Loris nods gently in Soma's direction, before turning back to me.
Nevertheless, I enjoyed meeting with you, Knight. For now, take care, as I'd like to return to my solitude.
We backtracked our way through the stone streets while turning direction to a different district. Signs hung from weaved gauze with vibrant paints and letters, advertising the merchants and the abundance of craftsmen's wares all around. A gorgeous trail of red and yellow streaks bounded the letters to a tea shop. Gian's dragon sugar invoked a curious desire. Azalea, little surprised, yipped joyously.
Is that a tea shop? I hope it is. If you need me, I think I should be there.
I could go some flavours of Zemia if you don't mind me tagging along. Will you join us, Knight? I'm afraid I have more to do at the inn. I tell me the place is good, though, so I know I should stop by next time. Oh, all right. Will do. The day was falling quick as we found our way through town. Not but a district over did a building sit comfortably close to the flagstone road and the glimmer from the nearby shrine torchlight. A soft glow through the thick parchment doors alluded to our final destination, Oziama. The comforts of Cedar Crest Inn awaited us. Akin to the radiance of the town itself, the inn was calm, peaceful, but all the same in playful energy as any inn or tavern should be. Rose petals sprinkled about the cedar floors, working aromatically in unison with the carefully selected quantity of agar wood chips that burned atop fresh-lit coals. The moment I'd entered, I wished to sit and relax. There was work yet to do as I scanned the room for a specific leopard. When I'd found what looked to be the particular creature, his eyes were already set on me, walking in our direction. By his side stood a thinner cheetah. She wore a soft smile to her muzzle, the opposite of the leopard as he sneered. She seemed friendly, yet shied away when I expected to greet him. The creature next to her stood tall, and with zero attention to anyone else, reaches his hand out to me directly. All right. I nervously nod. A parcel, he mutters simply. I cannot tell if his affiliation or what the parcel could be for. Handed over, I could not help but wonder. What's the parcel for? He tilts his head to me, then the parcel, perhaps pondering if I was even worth the energy to speak to. I don't know. I know, probably. The cheetah next to him decides to speak up.
You're worried if I know, Rashek. Most likely empty gifts of bribery within. I imagine it'll be in the 5 I'd send.
She shrugs, almost with a chuckle, for walking off with the leopard by her side. With a long day behind us, I feel as though we finally could relax. Yet, as all calm moments go in Tavnor, it did not last. Kameo turned to Soma with wide eyes. That felt kind of like the quake of the divines, but worse. The quakes are getting stronger. Screams came from outside as we rushed to the doors. No one seemed hurt, but they looked into the night skies in terrifying awe. What is it? But no one answers. We quickly glanced at the sky, but it was pitch and dark, save for a strange glow in the distance. It was glimmering and fading beyond the trees rapidly. Quickly we set pace, following some of the other creatures who chased after it. Once on a wider street we could see far beyond the tree line, towards Melenthia. A strange glow shimmered far in the horizon, lighting the sky as if in sunset, despite the overbearing night that surrounded us within the trees. Feeling something shifting within my belongings, I pulled out the handle of the ancient sword. Then I realized a strange yet faint glow within the stone that lined the centre of the guard. Felt severely dissimilar from the treaty of my other sword, yet I couldn't understand how. A sudden flash of light washed over me, forced me to close my eyes. Behind my eyelids I could feel, or better yet, somehow see what looked like a map. I felt as though I was a small piece standing upon the map itself. The roads were at my feet, yet lines of colour flowed across the plains. Trees and mountains sprouted around me as these lines dove between them, weaving a path all its own. In the same manner as a raft on the river, I flowed without effort. I followed the path's direction to what seemed to be its destination. I was in the sands of Acera once more. Somehow. Yet it did not last. I ripped my eyes open to the dark as the armoured streets around me. The light in the sword in the sky diminished. But in my mind's eye I feel I had a destination I now knew of. What lay there, if anything? I had no clue. Not yet. As soon as we could fully understand the light's presence, it diminished. What was that light? The mumblings of unconvinced suspicions followed. No guess or statement gave any hint. Some whispered it was so bright moments ago, lighting the entire sky like day. Tomorrow should return with haste to Haven, so we can make sure all is fine there. Well, whatever it was, it's gone now. Zane slapped his thigh. I'm lighting Zemarian root in my room if anyone wants to join. Might be in need of it after that. Hopefully you can relax tonight, Geraint. Any reason I wouldn't? He shrugs. Most likely a nerve in light fresh on his mind. Not really. It is just that we have done more in a week than I usually have done in most months. Why have we done more than usual? Lavera wishes strong alliances. She fears something has been planned against her. Sure, but it's being a diplomat what being a knight is all about. Only due to Melenthia is that of the Lunar Knight and the Royal Guard. Mayhap you not see the point, but I see it a calm before the storm. It has been clear for a while Lavera's power has been waning. She and others have lost too much. The best we can do is follow the orders to the left. Get to where we need to go for ourselves in the meantime. I nod slowly, pondering what is left from my path, wondering what troubles a lack of power would cause to Melenthia, and what it could pull me into. By the way, have you seen Mayo? I thought she'd be showing up to Azuyama shortly after us. Not so sure, honestly, I shrug. Strange. All right then. Have a good rest, Knight. It is best I be off as well. I think it's time to head to bed. It's been a long day for Geraint, and a long video.
Red Brigade, back to Valencia.
The stride of our brigade quickened as we saw the tower tops of Haven Hearth, the bustling markets, busy streets, and abundance of chatter. So all soothing as I now felt the comfort of a familiar city before me. Home, perhaps. Albeit slowly, at least I felt the city was healing from the events days past. Some creatures among the city must continue their lives. Comfort. I thought of home. Soothing feelings have vanished abruptly among the startled nature of the creatures nearest to me. A ship once afloat turned topside in my stomach. Random wolf and feline heads pulled towards us in concern, worry. As if materializing from within the crowd, Carly approached. His face stern, his eyes were sharp. Before we could even escape his beak, a group of guards encircled us. It was the engine, the way their hastened steps thudded, the looks they gave that conjured anxiety from thin air. Their looks were not set on me. That was Chapter 5 of Moonfire Seeker's Saga. I hope you enjoyed that one. It's a lot going on in there. Kind of while I was reading through it, I have an idea now of who killed Allikar. I'm not certain, but I think I might know who. But we'll find out next month when we go into Chapter 6, or hopefully next chapter anyway. Either way, it will be end of March. Is Chapter 6 of Moonfire. Coming up on the 1st of March, on David's Day, we have more from Nevin. We'll be catching up on that creature in the castle. And then also, if I don't manage it this week, there'll be more coming back to Echo. And we're also returning to the Minotaur Hotel. And we might have some more Spectrum of Hybrids. So things to look forward to in March. Why am I sounding like I'm opening up HTV in the morning? I don't know, but that's how it goes when you're announcing things sometimes. Anyway, as always, thanks to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. I really appreciate you. It means I don't have to worry about putting ads on the channel, which is really nice. And my top patrons are Andy Peng, Aaron Fox, Bastian, Vieka, Brian Hall, Cobus Visser, Dissonance, Exact, Riz, Marvelous Mouse Productions, Edit Corvo, Evan King, Kartek, Matt Kenya, Mario Cervantes, Lark Huskatton, Greylock, Addy Bear, Wolfers Need Coffee, Aram Tarasu, Tiger Cub, Samuto, Spiderling, Rafu, and Omar. Thanks to all of them. If you'd like to get your name on that list or the one I show at the beginning of every episode, $2 Canadian a month is enough to get you on my opening list there, and it gives you access to our Discord, which is kind of quiet but fun. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to join us there. And if it's not in your budget, absolutely fine, don't worry about that. Patreon should always be the last thing you think about, and as long as you're watching, enjoying it, maybe leaving a like, I appreciate that. Just having the views is nice. That's it for now. Until next time, thanks for watching.